Howdy, everybody. I pray this video finds you blessed. So, this week I am turning a salt cellar. I've always wanted a salt cellar for my kitchen, and I just never got around to turning one for myself. So, I didn't just turn one for myself, I turned three. So, this is the second one I turned, and then I will post the video of the third one I turned. And the reason why I recorded both of them because there's different ways to mount uh, options to mount the wood and kind of the process, the steps to go through of going about it. And I wanted to share both of the ways with you. For this piece, I just mounted it by pushing the piece of wood up against my chuck with it closed and the tailstock. I don't know exactly the wording for that way of mounting it because it's not really mounting it. It's kind of just in between centers, but without having two centers. Just keep in mind which end you want your lid. Some grains would have prettier or more stuff going on one side or the other. So make sure you put a tenon or a mortise in whichever end and however you're going to mount it, and keeping in mind which end is going to be the lid. For this piece of wood, both pieces were equally as figured. So I just went ahead and chose to put the side that's towards the chuck as the bottom, and the other towards the tailstock will be the lid. I don't recall ever turning leopard wood before, and stuff is very, I don't know how to explain it, chippy and dryish feeling, like very splintery type of wood. I'm assuming because of how the grain is in it. Um, Turn this at high speeds and with sharp tools. Otherwise, you get awful tear out. For this one, I put a tenon on what would be the lid. Later on, I'll have to turn that away, and you'll see how I do that. I'm parting off where the lid will be, but not all the way through, just past the point where I will need to drill to put my brass piece. And you can use whatever you want for the lid for this particular part. You don't have to use metal. I just like the metal look through the lid. Now here you'll make your decision on where you want your lid to pivot from. So with the grain against the grain, however you want to do that, make sure that you map it out beforehand. I'm drilling the hole through the lid and through the base, like I said, before you part off the lid, so that way you have the grain, everything's all nice and lined up for you. You do not have to worry about trying to line this up later on. So I had made a mistake and put the wrong drill bit into my drill press when drilling out the hole for the brass piece. Thank goodness I had a larger brass rod to go in here, because it was originally supposed to be a smaller one. I think it's like a little bit, it's not 3 millimeters. I think it was like 2.5, maybe even two. Um, as far as the rod size, I would have to go back and measure it. But anyways, it was supposed to be smaller. It still worked. Just remember, if your pivot rod is, larger, obviously the bigger your lip is going to be on your base of your bowl. So just keep that in mind. I just had made a mistake and drilled a larger hole, so that's why the rim of that has to be a little bit thicker. And you're not gluing your rod into the base of the bowl; it is going to be moving, so that makes it even trickier. You can't get too thin, otherwise you could possibly run the risk of of cracking the wood right there where that hole is drilled. I also should have kept the rim of this a little flatter instead of angling it inwards and curving it right there, because later on when I put the magnet in, the magnet kind of is exposed on one side because of how the curvature of the bowl. So if you plan on doing a curvature on the inside like that, use a smaller magnet and just make sure it seats in without it being stuck out. Because this is going to possibly have food in it, I'm just using my beeswax, carnauba wax, and mineral oil, DIY polishing, wood polish or conditioner, I guess, whatever you want to call it. It's food safe, very simple mix. I may have the link in the description below on the video that I watched on how to make mine. If I can find it, I'll post it and it'll be there. As far as shaping the lid, making it concaved inwards is fine. Just not, just make sure you don't do that too soon along the rim, because then otherwise there's no like nice flat contact with the bottom of the bowl and the lid. I don't know how to explain it. In the very end of the video, I kind of show you a little bit what I'm talking about. Right here, I'm showing you with the ruler how you can check and make sure that that lid is concaved in slightly, so that way your lid will shut nice and smoothly, or spin, I should say, nice and smoothly on the base. So yeah, I made a mistake and didn't turn the mortise on the inside of the lid deep enough. So I had to use my cold jaws to mount the lid and finish it, which is fine. I would have to get the cold jaws out for the base as well to turn the bottom off of it. So it is what it is. Sometimes you overshoot your skill level and and make those mistakes, and those mistakes are what teach you um, how to do it better the next time. And so therefore that's what this is. The only thing I did not like about having to do this method is that this wood in particular, you have to turn it fast, otherwise it's just awful tear out. And with the cold jaws, the highest you can go is 600, and I was pushing that and maybe a few numbers higher to try to get it to turn as fast as I possibly can, um, to eliminate as much tear out as I can. It all turned out fine, and I was able to sand it down really good. But it's nice to be able to get the um, the finished, looking good with your cuts and not just with sandpaper. You know what I mean? Seems like no matter how flat I get my pieces, I can never get my branding iron to burn this good. I've never been really good at burning the bottoms of my pieces. Eventually one of these days I'll get around to getting better at it, maybe. I have not sanded the lid yet because once I cut the rod to size and glue it all on, I'm going to have to sand it again. So I did not finish the lid completely while it was in the cold jaws. I will not do that until after I glue the rod in, just to gives you a little heads up on that, why I did that process that way. So I'm checking my depth, and I'm giving this a good sand because my drill bit and the rod size are both exactly the same, and I want it to move inside the base. And also I need to sand it a little bit to give something for the glue to stick to for the lid. So I'm just testing it, making sure that it spins nicely before I cut it down to size and pull it off the lathe. Now you want your rod of choice, whatever, to stick up just past the wood, so when you sand, it sands it down flush. Mine was a little short, and when I glued it, I just made sure I poked it up a little bit so I had plenty to sand and make it flush. I'm putting medium CA glue. You got to excuse my products. All this stuff is literally like 2.5 years old. So everything is not the way that it's supposed to be. And I'm just using it because it's what I got. And, you know, I'm just going to use it until it doesn't work anymore. So I put the glue on the tip that I'm going to glue into the lid and push it down, so the glue will build up on the top of the lid instead of pushing it down through the bottom, because if you push it down through the bottom, it would the glue would be on the bottom side, and already finished the bottom side. I hadn't finished the top side, so that's why I pushed it from the top down. The magnets are 3 millimeters, so the same drill bit I used for the magnets as I did the pivot rod. And you'll see why the rim should have been flat, because the magnet still kind of sticks up where the rim starts to slope downwards into the bowl. I should have made that a little bit more just like flat or straighter right there. So how you line them up is you stick both your magnets. You drill first your bottom one and your base, and then you put both of your magnets on top of one another. You put a marker of some sort, something to where when you set that lid down, it will um, kind of transpose or make a mark on the top of your lid, so you know exactly where to drill your magnet for your top one. Now, if it's off just slightly, it should still close and line up. But if it's off a little bit more than just slightly, it will make the lid close not lined up. So just do whatever method you feel is best. This one works for me. Do not use accelerator on this, because I already finished the bowl, and I don't want the acetone in the accelerator to um, cause a weird film or what have you on the bowl. Make sure you have your magnets facing the right direction before you glue them in as well. The way I kind of knew was because of the black marker that I used to transpose was still on one of the magnets that goes on the top side, but leaving them connected together until you're ready to glue them in will also help you keep their orientation proper. Howdy everybody, I pray this video finds you blessed. So I'm back, yay! I'm so excited to be touring again. Of course, doing the YouTube side of it is a bonus, but being able to turn is amazing. after a little over 3 years. It feels good, and I realize how much turning is therapy for me and that I need it in my life. All right, let's get on with the project. This is a salt cellar, or a salt den, some people call it. I've been wanting one for a very long time because I may, grab chunks of stuff and season food. I love to cook, so having a salt den has been amazing. I'm going to show you mine that I made for myself. This one's a little smaller that I have next to my stove. I use it for my Celtic sea salt. So anywho, that's what that is. This is a brass stock that I bought for making knives, and those magnets in there I bought on Amazon as well, the 3mm magnets. I'll put the links for the stuff I used in the description below. Let's go over the mistakes or what not to do's. Do not curve as much as you will want to curve the inside of here. Do not do it, and the reason why is because the magnet will stick up on one end. In order for them to make sure that they are kind of having contact and they will grab one another, you want those magnets to be, kind of touching as the door closes, which is good. That closes really nice, sticks really well. But I don't know what I was thinking. I was just turning away and having a good old time and totally forgot not to round that on the inside. Now, if you make this really thick and wide enough to where your magnets can sit in there without it, making a difference, then of course go right ahead. I like the idea of curving it. Just, if you're grabbing stuff out of here, it makes it a little bit nicer. So you can modify the size of the magnets you use. These are rare earth magnets. They're pretty strong. They're pretty strong magnets. You could possibly get away with doing smaller ones. Working with smaller ones, as you see in the video, it's, so tedious with these little things. I have learned that using a larger magnet to control them, after the second time making one, I was like, oh, that's smart. Yeah, let's use a larger magnet to control the little magnets. But anywho, make sure that your brass is connected to the lid. So that's in case it decides to rise up or down, then your lid just doesn't fall off. It has plenty of, I guess you would call spring or movement to go up and down. And obviously you want it to where it can come out so you can fill it, whatever else. Yeah, so that is that. With this one, I'm going to have to turn into a jewelry box, and the reason why is because I turned it too thin. Yes, the lovely dreaded. I even used a depth finder, or whatever, my old homemade depth finder, to make sure I didn't get too thin, and I still did anyway. I don't know, maybe I was just so happy turning that I just was like, let's make a bunch of shavings. Let's turn it all to shavings. Who knows? But yeah, that's some mistakes that I want y'all to avoid, obviously. And if you want to round where the lid meets the bowl, to where it I don't know how to explain that, where it's kind of like rolled over edge, just know that you're possibly gonna see the gap, which it just depends on what you're trying to go for as far as look. I personally, it doesn't matter to me either way. I guess it all depends on what you're going to be using it for. So this one, the way I'm going to fix it is I'm just going to pour some clear resin down here in the bottom, and just to make this to where it doesn't like bust through, give it some more rigidity and stiffness, and then turn it into a jewelry box. That's just what's gonna have to happen. My burning thing, I've just never really been good at burning with that thing, and maybe my logo's just way too complicated for for it. But it is what it is. I try. I try. Yeah. So I am going to put another video out as soon as I get done editing it that shows you how to make another one a little bit differently. So mounting it a little bit differently, and the process is just a little bit different. It's a little bit more thought through instead of just throwing it on the lathe, and which is fine, you know, go for it, have fun. As long as you're having fun, who cares? But I'm gonna put another video of this box out, and this one turned out just fine. The only thing I messed up on this one is I accidentally dropped it, and it hit something, and it's just a little dent in there, and this one burned a little better. But I don't want to show off this one too much because this video is about this one. Yeah, so that's that. I'm going to turn this into a jewelry box. I don't know if I'm going to put it on Etsy or not. I guess it all depends. I may just hold on to it to gift it, but it can't be, once I put resin in there, it cannot be used as a food item. They're fun. They're fun, and they're really nice gifts. So I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed turning again. It has been a long time, and I'm so blessed to be able to get back to it. So, all right, everyone. Well, you have a wonderful week, and keep an eye out for this video. It might be this week, it might be next week. I don't know. I'm getting back into the swing of things. So thank you, everyone, for your patience, your grace, your kindness, your love, your prayers. It is truly and greatly appreciated. Y'all have a wonderful week. Take care, and God bless.